This is called Magician. I perform like a magician, and I don't have the top hat or the finely slicked hair, but I have this wand of fiction. So a twist of my wrist can effect the greatest repair. And my mind has this vision of a world that I desire, and my hands can craft this image of Prometheus stealing fire and handing it to me, as accomplices should be, hushed and huddled in secret places with dark stones that are cold to the touch. But they touch my hand smooth, inviting me to move from my pocket to my palm to a handshake, removed one step from basic courtesy. 'Cause there's little more than chivalry inside his hand to interest me. So I smile with a wink he might not catch, 'cause the light can't penetrate us or our shady acts. And then we go our separate ways, with two varieties of satisfaction, plucking the cords on our face to set our lips upright. And I can feel that bass gracing my cheeks. And I can feel your face like I haven't for weeks. And I'm loath to speak about the things I wish I could leave beneath the streets, but I can't help my feet if they love to tread on the soil stained in the blood I've shed at your hands, but at my toil. And your hands are different than the lovers that I got to meet in dark alleys, 'cause yours can make my heart waves quake and shake my warped and wooden galleys with a crew that turns my stern glare into a mast sailing past seas where I despair, where cares and fears combine into this current that I hate to hear, 'cause I know that its rush can crush my sense in the brush, and then I'm scrambling for the top sails I love. And god damn, I hate the way it feels. Even if my head can recognize that you're the one who's fooling, my body is the one with its fickle lips drooling over the spools of lies pooling at the tip of your tongue. You look like a clown pulling a technicolor robe out of your lungs to serve it up as entertainment. But all the entertainment I ever knew encountered you, and you constrained it because I can't think about anything but you. This isn't supposed to be about you again, and if it's by invisible hands that were tortured worst, then why can I see yours perfectly working me, working ways around my neck? Is this the attraction I've imagined, or just vulnerability in effect? Well, this is where the magic happens. I can twist the things near me till I've sufficiently recast them into diamonds, or methods that find them, and we can all be rulers if we only apply them. And when I apply them to my world, I turn it into this wax museum of perfect skin mannequins that look like art but are just a scam, coated with lipstick and gloss and all the sequins. But when I go to touch them, the hair feels coarse, and the lipstick is painted with a hue of remorse, and the wax can stack all the concepts of beauty, but the wax can still melt, and it's the aftermath I'm viewing. This shit isn't magic. This is just misconstruing, and there's always that danger when the powers you're using are the size of waves that can rise over your head, where seagulls can see me bob underwater with feet that are dreaming of buoys. And I suppose you can use this magic to make you a king, but you can't use it to make life vests when you're in the middle of an ocean. And so I need to just distill this artifice that imparted this egotistical sense that I'm the only part of this, because it's artless that I can come up here or come up to a mic and say I'm the only influence I've ever met in my life. Now, my audience, you've been lovely. I'd say the best I've ever had. But there's a lesson in this story I never intended it to have. See, every wand of fiction, it can work in two ways. When the mind purges its urges, then that diction repays with this experience that peers through wrists into the mind that made it kiss the lips of folds beneath my skull. And once they've kissed and passion's missed, I can't forget the tale told. Because check this out. Has a movie ever compelled you? Has a book ever changed your life? Have you ever realized that a work of fiction can have a greater impact than the things you can fit between your fingers, like baseballs and plane tickets and fancy tie suits? I like to hold my pencils like scalpels and my thoughts like a degree, and when I put the two to paper, I'm in open mind surgery. And don't mind the blood if it splatters a bit. That's part of the procedure, so try to be comfortable with it. And I have these bright lights above me and monitors screaming that I've severed my ventricles under these bright lights that are beaming, but I ignore them because my heart is downpouring, and this isn't a stream of consciousness, this is a torrent. And sometimes the patient doesn't transfuse perfectly into prose, so it comes out like this Siamese poetry in its birth throes, with one head my own and one head of fiction. If I learn to love myself, I can reduce the friction between my true form, which is one part me and two parts what I can be. And so I try to let myself roll in like thunder. And that can be frightening, sure, but if I were to toss that asunder, that would be so much worse. Because that would make right now the end of my journey. Right now would be my deathbed, and I would have never needed a gurney to get there. And I would have told the surgeons emerging from deep in my head to retreat defeated, because I told them I've met a habit that's easier and cheaper than they. His name's complacence, and he keeps passion at bay. Why bother with ambition? It won't come to fruition. All thunder, no lightning. That's the human condition. Why try if failure looms larger than success, like this full moon that blocks out the sun in the process? No, I think that's wrong. This sun, it is real, and I have this incessant urge to shut myself down and relinquish that crown, because fine, the rubies and the sapphires can only burn like pyres, but that recognition of the self as the ruler of fate, that's what separates us from all the other vertebrates. I may not be divine, but at least I know divinity, and I may not stop time, but at least the concept can fit in me, and I may not be a wizard, but I know enough trickery to forge happiness out of an overcast day, enough to turn feelings into a poem, enough to make bootstraps to pull myself up by, enough to know that the force doesn't exist, but that can't stop us from moving things with our minds. And also, I'll move mine first, then I'll move you, and then we'll move the country with what we can do. It just needs to start with this spark on your heart that pulls on your soul like a shot in the dark, and it signals abruptly this flare is erupting, and behold this vision that I'm holding above me, because it peels the night as if the night were a fruit, and I don't see a tree of knowledge, but maybe that's because we're the root, and there's nothing forbidden when you're a magician. So raise up your wand and summon truth out of fiction.